Pain is about to play T1, and I've got dyNquedo here with me. Is that correct pronunciation?
dyNquedo.
dyNquedo.
Yeah, perfect,
Okay.
perfect.
Obrigada. So, such a big match today, but first I do want to ask about Pain making it to the Swiss stage. You made history for the CBLOL. What's it been like getting all the reactions from the fans at home, and for you personally, making it to the Swiss stage?
It's such a good feeling. We are here now. I mean, facing T1 really represents that feeling, you know. Like, we are facing T1, so in the whole history, Brazil couldn't do it. So even I mean, we are gonna do our best and try to win, of course. But just facing them is already represents a lot for us, and for our fans also. They are feeling so much good. So let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen so many reactions because we thought with a draw, like, oh, this is difficult for Pain. But the community said, yes, we want to play T1. We're so excited. But that does mean that you are about to lane versus Faker.
Against the man.
Against the man himself. So what do you think about that?
Being really honest, I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know what's gonna happen. And I mean, it's gonna be tough, of course. He's the GOAT, right? So it's gonna be for sure a tough game, tough lane. But I'm really excited for that. I really want to do it. That also I said before we leave Brazil. I said the man who I wanted to face more was, of course, Faker. So I'm happy that's happening.
Yeah, me too. Have fun. Muito obrigada.
Thank you, thank you. Obrigado.
The storyline is set for dyNquedo. First it was Caps, next it's Faker, and then the final matchup against APA later on. We'll see if Pain Gaming can manage to pull off one of the biggest upsets in the history of Worlds if they beat T1 here today. It's the first time CBLOL has met up against T1. 7-0 is the record for the LCK versus Brazil over the years. It's going to be a difficult one, Betty.
Yeah, but I just love the energy that's being brought into this, right? Because they recognize their position. They know that they're the underdogs coming in, and they just look forward to the opportunity to have the ability to say that I got to play against the reigning world champions and the GOAT of League of Legends. Like, it really is an honor. And even though T1 aren't in the best of forms right now, they did struggle. They end up falling short in their game yesterday. But ultimately, it's still going to be an honor and a privilege. And I'm excited to see what both of these teams are bringing out for us, because we're slowly starting to see this meta develop into something a little more consistent and concrete. We've seen Yone now have answers with things like the Jax and the Smolder. We've also seen Rumble continuing to be a high priority champion. The introduction of Vi to the meta being a high priority ban and pick is something that I think is going to be very interesting as to where that will fall on the priority list here. And ultimately, I think that Pain Gaming need to go for an approach of something that they found success with in the play-ins. Violence, right? Just looking for fights, looking for skirmishes, because the truth is, in terms of the macro, yeah, you have to give T1 the advantage. So instead, put them in a deficit, force them to have to try and react to the aggression that you're bringing out. And I think that with the skills that we've been seeing from Cheetan so far at Worlds, I believe that they can find advantages in the bot side of the map.
We'll see if Cheetan can manage to find an advantage down in that bottom lane, but his opponents are Gumayusi and Keria. Two world champions facing up on the opposite side of the rift. In fact, there were 5 of them, Betty. T1 obviously defending world champs here, having won last year in 2023. That's what last year was. And although it has been a suboptimal start to Worlds for them, I'm sure they'll be looking for a quick bounce back and going to that 1-1 scoreline.
Let's see if they can pull it off, because as you rightly said, should Pain win today, even though it's just a best of 1, has to be up there with one of the biggest upsets in all of World's history.
And CBLOL have a history of doing so. Kaboom 2014, beat Alliance, making C9 qualify from that group instead of the European representatives, who were seen as one of the best teams coming out of Europe that year. INTZ, in fact, even though they only got 1 win in the group stage in 2016, it was against EDG that they managed to pick up that win. Pain Gaming, the first CBLOL team in 8 years to make it to the main stage, or the Swiss stage as we now call it, looking to do Brazil proud one last time. Their region evolving into the Americas next year, and there's a certain symmetry in it. You know, Pain Gaming were there at the start of the CBLOL. 10 years ago, they lost to Vivokeed in the finals. And now they beat Vivokeed in the finals 10 years later to make it to Worlds, and now to make it to the main stage. beating R7 in the play-ins. We are just waiting for the players to get on into the picks and bans. As you said, Vedi, Rumble, Vi, Yone, all likely to be contested. As we jump on in, the Lucian, the first ban away here by T1.
I mean, that's got to put a smile on your face.
I mean, if I'm smiling ear to ear, man. This guy's been tearing up Champions Queue with that Lucian. Orianna taken away from Faker. No real surprises there.
Yeah, for people that don't know, Faker has a few skins in our game. Orianna is one of them. And given how strong she is on the current patch, they don't want to afford that risk. With the Jax ban, is suggesting that T1 is looking at a priority on the Yone. We'll see if that does come to fruition with the Aurora ban in response. So far, with outside of the Lucian, a lot of just typical meta bans coming in from either side. What about the Vi though? What about the Skarner? We expected, I mean, I know a lot of people's pick'ems, but Skarner very high on the ban list because of how powerful it looked coming into the tournament, but his priority seems to have shifted as time has gone on. Things like the Sejuani still proving to be a very valuable frontline tank jungler, but as we mentioned it, there's the Skarner ban coming through from the side of T1. How will Pain Gaming round out their draft with things like the Ashe still up and available, the Vi there as well, and the Yone, all very powerful picks that T1 can look to grab for themselves in the first rotation.
That's the question, is it? Do you need to take the Yone away from Faker? He's only brought it out 5 times this year. Zeus obviously a very good Yone player as well, if you want to put Faker on something a little bit more mage-minded in the mid lane. Not the ban away from Pain, and immediately T1 say, well, we'll take one of the win bros. Yone are locked in for them.
You have to wonder if Pain want to consider denying the Maokai away. Maokai, even though you typically see a tankier build, we've seen, I mean, even Genji earlier in the day, you can draft things like the Kai'Sa as well to give you a little bit more AP in your threat. Hell, build Jhin with Static Shiv, that'll give you a decent amount of magic damage. Like, there are ways to get around the fact of just having to lock in an AP jungler, but they've decided to go for the Sejuani instead. Of course, both Sej and Maokai, great pairings alongside the Yone.
Alongside that, you can look for a melee top laner. Cedra Necton, something we've seen relatively often. Obviously, if Yone's played into that in the top lane, you can CC him, but he can always snap back if he's in that soul unbound form.
I mean, they might be thinking around Akali.
Yeah.
The thing you have to be careful of is the flexibility of this Yone and the fact that it can move in between both top and mids. There is going to be that Akali. I think it does pair up nicely with the Sej, but the Vi response. So far, a lot of what we've been talking about has come through for both these teams. And to round things out, there's the Rumble once more. So the debate around, is Rumble out of the meta? I think it's clearly been answered today that Rumble is very much in the meta. It's just that with the laning phase hurt, he's not as dominant from start to finish, but the impact in a late game team fights with good setup, with Yone providing that setup, with Vi providing that setup, still very effective champion.
They did take some damage away from him, but none of it is taken away from late game. As you say, when you get to level 5, rank 5 of any ability, it's the same damage as it used to be. Olaf locked in here.
Wizer.
For Wizer in the top lane, played it 3 times this year. Won 2 of those games. Can be good into the Rumble if you can start to snowball that lane, and obviously pairs up well with the Sejuani because of that melee focus that the Sejuani wants from your solo laners.
Okay, I mean, the beautiful thing about this draft from Pain Gaming is I think that on a side lane they can go and match against this Yone later on into the game. I've not been a massive fan of the electrocute Akalis only because in lane it can be very effective, but when you move on to the side lanes it becomes harder to manage the scaling threat that the Yone provides. But Olaf, I think, is someone that can help mitigate some of that. Regardless, Jhin, Ashe, Xayah now going to come through. All the AD carries very quickly being removed from the pool. Ezreal immediately raising in priority, having that extra bit of mobility, but the Xayah ban makes so much sense in the context of going up against a Vi Yone.
I feel like Kai'Sa's up there in my estimations now as well, especially for T1. You've got the Vi jumping in, you've got the Equalizer, you've got the Yone going in as well.
I wonder about the Kalista. Where's that priority going to fall?
We will see. Is there going to be another AD carry ban here from T1? They've already taken away that Xayah. Alongside that, Rel will join the bench.
So what will the pick be here for Pain Game? Makes no sense to pick their support here. You may as well lock in your AD carry. Whether it be the Kalista, is it going to be the Kai'Sa? Looks like it's going to be the Kalista.
I mean, it's Chitan's most played this year. Draven immediately, Draven Renata.
I mean,
you're
getting the respect, Chitan. You are getting that respect.
Baby.
Gumayusi's Draven is going to come through, and he is throwing the gauntlet down. That is going to be an aggressive bot lane 2 versus 2. I wonder if Pain will look for the swap to try and avoid those early levels. They're hovering the Seraphine.
Neeko instead, face call plus the Pop Blossom, such a powerful combination. You yeet the Neeko in, and then she knocks everyone up, especially with relatively low mobility. Renata and Draven, easy enough to catch out. Rumble as well, obviously doesn't have a dash of his own. Vi and Yone a little bit more tricky to keep under wraps.
Now, T1, I mean, they have a backline threat comp, right? I mean, you've got Yone, you've got Vi, you've got Rumble ultimate, Draven ultimate. The Renata's there to act as a bit of disengage, to provide some peel. But against an Olaf, that's going to be a difficult thing to do. I think what's crazy about this matchup is there's just so much mobility across the entire draft from both sides. There's so much potential backline threat, there's so many flank angles that can come through. I mean, both AD carries are kind of sad because they really don't have the peel that they need with so many assassins looking to dive on top of their heads. But that means the responsibility is going to fall onto these mid laners, onto these top laners to find these crucial targets, and the laning phase is going to determine a lot. Pain Gaming have already expressed how excited they are to have the opportunity to play against T1, an opportunity that no Brazilian organization has had throughout the history of the World Championships. But today will be that day, and they're going to put everything on the line to give all that they've got to show that they deserve to be here.
And T1 won't treat them with kid gloves either. This is not going to be a match for the soft-hearted. This is a punching match between two juggernauts. And although the expectation is that T1 are Goliath, David sometimes wins that battle. I've heard of it at least once, Vedi.
An exciting matchup to be sure.
It's just the electricity as well. Around when we were in the plains and it was R7, the LAAAA representatives against Pain Gaming for that Swiss spot. Now as well, seeing the reactions from the Brazilian streamers, from ex-pro players being like, we wanted this. This is the battle we want to fight. Sometimes you can get into worlds and you can be a bit like, oh, we just want a good draw. You know, we just want to sneak our way through. We just want to face EU or NA and manage to get a win on the board. Pain Gaming are having none of that. And like, we'll meet you fist to fist, and we'll see who goes down first.
And what I love about this is T1, you know, bringing out all the big guns, you know. Complete respect on their side. Gumayusi's Draven, willing to go toe-to-toe with Chitan. We've seen how spectacular this man has been in the bottom lane. Really the shining star of Pain Gaming, I think. And if anyone's had an opportunity to watch any of the in-houses that have been happening in Champions Queue, like, this man has been absolutely popping off with some of his performances. So I'm excited to see his Kalista. It looks like that we are going to get the traditional 2 versus 2.
Yeah, what else,
1 versus 1.
None of that lane swapping shenanigans here.
It's crazy, the contrast. Yesterday we had lane swapping all day, and today I don't think we've seen one.
Yeah, and all of the lane swaps lost except one, Betty. Only FlyQuest won with a lane swap. Every other game was a defeat, so teams quickly picking up on the meta. But lane swaps, perhaps not always the best idea. Chitan trading with Keria here. Gumayusi taking a bit of poke back from Kuri as well.
Getting the early push. I mean, Renata, a champion that doesn't really have the strongest trading patterns at level 1, so Kuri able to leverage the poke that this Neeko does have to be able to get that early level 2. They're going to secure it.
Flash! Looking at stun onto Keria, who will just flash and heal away. He gets out, both the supports burn their sums, and it's a statement of intent, Velius.
I mean, they're playing without any fear whatsoever. dyNquedo falling a little bit behind in terms of farm in the mid lane 1 versus 1. He really has to try and get in Faker's face to be able to win out on this matchup with the electrocute. A little low on energy. But overall, we see junglers pathing towards the bot side of the map, and with summoners already down, that's going to be a crucial play in the next few minutes.
See both the junglers actually going to meet in the river here. CarioK trying to cover dyNquedo as he tries to get that push out. Oner going back in with the Vault Breaker, but that permafrost is going to proc. Oner comes out the worst for wear of the two. Obviously, Aftershock helping CarioK there eat up some of that damage. Does look like Oner is a camp ahead, but CarioK going for an invade. Knows that his bot lane has the push right now. Could try and steal away these Krugs. Starts up on the red. Gumayusi falling low, 210 HP on him. Chitan pops the barrier!
That is the first blood for Chitan!
Around the world, Chitan takes it!
Action's not over yet, Medic.
Oner trying to get away. Permafrost is going to lock him up. Kuri's on the chase as well, but Oner still has the flash to escape. Gumo just wasn't expecting it.
He was not respecting the damage. And we already talked about Cheetah, a man that plays with no fear, finds that window and is able to draw first bloods. The only downside is CarioK, he wasn't able to get much off the back of it. He tried to take away the red buff. It ended up just being a 1 versus 1, allowing Oner to actually steal that objective away. So now he's quite far ahead in camps. He's looking for vision on the top side of the map, looking for these respawns, this information, maybe even threatening some sort of gank, but he's not going to be able to find anything. So CarioK is going to be a little bit behind in terms of his early clear. Now they're threatening a mid lane dive, but Kuri is here to cover.
Puts the Shape Splitter back behind him. Bolt Breaker coming out. Oner looks for the flash, catches dyNquedo. And nothing the Pain Gaming mid laner could do about that.
Nicely done there by Oner. dyNquedo just too many poor trades. His health bar was too low. And now he finds himself at a pretty significant deficit. Losing that wave is going to keep him behind in experience. Will, of course, have the TP to get back into lane quickly. But now the life's still going to come through from Faker, making this matchup that much harder for the Akali.
Oner's gone back, picked up that tunneler. You can see CarioK actually yet to get a recall off, is now going back to base and will start to build up those items. Zeke's obviously a player favorite so far on the Sejuani as a first build. Zeus winning out top lane so far, has about a 3 CS lead and is winning in terms of HP here as Wizer aims a lot of flames to the face.
Top lane matchup is pretty even across the board, just a lot of back and forth trading. And I mean, I will say, I think many top lane enjoyers are happy to see that Rumble just has a little bit less damage, a little bit less bullying power, getting a lot more value out of that magic resistance early on, which you can already see the long magic mantle prioritized for Wizer. Kuri making his presence known in mid once more, given that the back has come through from Cheetah. With the grub spawning soon, it's that 5:30 wave that both bot laners turn their attention to. T1 is here first on the play, which means they're going to be able to get this push out, set up better vision around this top side river. TP is now invested bot side.
But Zeus using a TP, whereas Wizer has not. So if a fight does begin around the grubs as Faker falls low, Ignite ticking on him, Kuri still looking! And Kuri gets it, Faker falls.
A crucial kill in the mid lane. Kuri's assistance providing massive value. No TP available for Faker. CarioK hovering around the top side. Oh, but Kuri's been caught.
Has no flash, lands the Tangle Barbs onto Oner. CarioK forced out of the top side because he knows his support is about half HP. You can hear the crowd cheering for Pain Gaming. As T1 have been rattled a little bit in this early game. Still, things going relatively to plan. They have the grubs, they'll get 3 of them. They're only about 400 gold behind, and even though there is a lead for Cheetah, it's about how effectively he can utilize that 600 gold advantage.
Yeah, it's interesting because basically what Pain are doing is they're kind of using their tempo to get kills, right? And the bot lane 2 versus 2, they could have used that pressure bot to invade on the red buff. Instead, they found a kill onto the Draven, which means that the red buff didn't end up getting secured. In the mid lane, they found a kill onto Faker. Valuable kill, much needed for dyNquedo for sure, but it also then conceded pressure around the grubs as well, especially given that Kuri didn't have the HP after getting chunked out by Oner. So T1 still in a comfortable position. They're able to find these objectives where they can. Dragon is likely going to be the next objective that both these teams set their sights on. But it shouldn't take away from the fact that what do these kills actually mean? What does it kind of put the game state as? And it's this bot lane from PNG. Ooh. And you're seeing the value of just putting Faker, like getting that kill meant that he lost a lot of XP, gave dyNquedo the opportunity to go back to base, buy that Hextech alternator, and it's helping him so much more in the 1v1 trades.
Faker does still have the Vamp Scepter and a refillable potion, so will sustain himself back up in that lane. You can see he has about a 2-wave advantage as well in mid. There's a moment I thought CarioK was going to go for a bot lane play, but decides against it as Zeus just pushed out the wave, backed away. CarioK now rotating it back through his jungle. Faker going in, has the fate sealed, if he wants it. Jumps in with a Q3, dyNquedo goes back forward and immediately Oner was waiting. A choreographed play there from T1.
Junglers ruining the fun of mid laners once
Just
again.
let him 1v1 me.
Nice coverage from Oner, does protect Faker. dyNquedo saw the angle where he might be able to get a kill, but of course Faker playing with the knowledge that he had the support from Oner. They equalize the kill score, and dyNquedo gonna lose a lot, or another wave as he falls.
See the move from Pain Gaming already bringing Cheetah down towards the bottom side. They will lose the first Drake of the game though, as Oner should be able to secure this before CarioK comes across, but it might be tight. Oner needs a couple more auto attacks. CarioK there in time, and Oner has to jump the pit. Kuri invested his flash for it, but it's a Drake on the board for PNG.
And much needed, I think. You don't want to give all these early game objectives over to T1. Swapping their bot side back on that side of the map. Honestly, a little greedy from Oner to try and find that angle. He thought that, hey, I've just got the kill onto dyNquedo. There's a window here. Maybe I can catch Pain Gaming slacking, but they're not able to. And this objective is secured. Kuri, though, once again, moving on the map. This man is eager to get information and look for plays. As the bot lane from T1 remains on the top side, looking to try and bully out Wizer and secure some more plates. The Rumble actually makes his way back up through top side of the map, knowing that the real risk of a dive is there on the bot side. CarioK hovering around top.
And Guma and Keria might stay for one more plate here. You can see it's about to tick down. CarioK goes in, and immediately they dive on Keria. Hostile takeover comes out, but Keria will tick, and there's no way to bring him back from the dead. Zeus coming across. CarioK has nothing left to escape, and Zeus will hit him in the back and secure a counter kill. But all the while, Cheetan and Kuri have free time with the bot tower.
And to being for a one-for-one, crucially the kill goes on to Wizer, and Draven doesn't quite cash in the stacks just yet. So you kind of look at the good news here for Pain, but Wizer now, oh, he's getting dived.
I mean, Zeus, Gumayusi taking a tower shot here as well. Oner's on his way. How well can you juggle the aggro? How are your acrobatics? Wizer doesn't have the axe, and Oner has a fist, but Wizer almost manages to get one back. Oner tanks it well. T1 able to get out with a kill in the dive.
And now those stacks have been cashed. That's a lot of gold sitting onto Gumayusi. You can see how before Cheetan was comfortably in the lead with the gold, now that's swung back in favor of the Draven. T1 very quickly claiming control over this early game as they find picks across the board.
Kuma has no mana here, but he does have Cleanse and Flash, and CarioK will realize by his lonesome he can't really do too much about that Draven. Stops the tempo, forces him to reset a little bit later, which does open up the grubs for Pain Gaming. You can see, I don't think T1 really had any interest in them. Oner on the bottom side alongside Keria and Faker. They're going to look for a couple of plates off this bot lane tower.
Set my eyes towards the minimap, looking at what objectives are available. Zeus that needs to be careful. The threat of the dive is very real. He knows that the equalizer being started, but
Pop Blossom. There's the equalizer onto Cheetan. Kuri pulled back with a face call. Zeus doesn't have to burn the flash. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, a TP coming in from Pain Gaming as they try to get Wizer out of this situation. Faker dashing back in with a soul unbound, and his fate is sealed. Faker going to jump all the way back. dyNquedo trying to dodge here in the Twilight Shroud, but even with the perfect execution, I don't know if he'll be alive for much longer. Faker holding that Q3, lands it in the end. dyNquedo falls.
And very quickly, T1 are finding advantages across the map. While Pain Gaming set their sights on the top side objective, it's T1 to set up the dive on the bot lane, and Pain Gaming can't respond. If Pain had CarioK with them on the top lane play, likely they would have been able to get that kill onto Zeus, but because they tried with just their bot lane, they can't really convert it into much. Gumayusi is left uncontested on the mid wave, TP invested from dyNquedo, and very quickly things are starting to fall apart for Pain.
You can see how quickly it just explodes, right? It's a 2,000, almost 3,000 gold lead now for T1. Faker is 1.3k ahead in the mid lane, now extending to 1.5 as he gets that plate. Things begin to balloon out of proportion here for Pain Gaming. For CarioK, though, he did manage to smite away the blue, so he'll be happy enough with that. And they have had some good moments. If they can find a little bit of wombo, a little bit of combo onto T1's backline, they can burst them. Kuri's had a couple of good positions looking for those pop blossoms, but really they need something soon.
Faker finds himself with a 1.5k gold lead over dyNquedo. With the Blade of the Ruin King completed, he's scary. It's such a powerful spike on Yone.
Yeah.
Anyone that's played the champ knows how much stronger you feel with it. And yeah, you can just do this. Just take away half the HP of CarioK and say, no, I'm actually fine, have the soul unbound. PNG have kind of overstacked their resources on the bot side of the map. They've got 4 members here, leaving mid lane exposed. Akali will not have the wave clear to protect it. It will allow them first tower and a bit of extra gold, but they're going to likely concede mid in exchange.
And some damage onto that top tower. No teleports available to them. You can see Zeus in the minimap just pushing that out. Still a couple of plates there for him to take, and with a minute left on the clock, it might be all the plates but one for T1, although Zeus obviously not the quickest tower taker. We'll get at least one more. So going to be 13 of a full complement of 15 so far. He's looking to make it 14 out of 15.
That is That is a lot of gold.
It's also just a lot of sound effects from that skin, man. Audacious bravery charge!
dyNquedo finds himself quite far behind on the Akali right now.
Yep.
Desperately searching for that first item as items are being completed across the board for everyone else in the game. Wizer a little bit behind as well. While in terms of the 1v1, he was doing fine. The amount of experience and farm he's been losing passively is massive. Notice he's a full level behind Zeus right now. Dragon going to be started up. TP flank coming in.
It's on a control ward, so Pain Gaming will know it's happening if they're scouting that portion of the map. Kuri looking for the flank as well. dyNquedo not quite with the team yet. Zeus now joining up. There's the equalizer. Oner secures the smite. Hostile takeover. Oner hits onto Wizer, but he pops the Ragnarok. Cheetan was clipped by it as well. Should be able to escape to the safety of this tower, but CarioK does not have that same luxury. Kuri misses the Spirit Blossom up towards the top side as Faker dashes back to his soul, and underneath the bot tower, Cheetan is caught out by T1. It's 2 kills to T1, a Drake to boot, and Pain Gaming are found wanting.
Across the map, things are falling apart. T1 get kill after kill. Faker outplays in the 2 versus 1 as both dyNquedo and Kuri try to lock him down. The problem is, as Kuri was looking for a flank, he's one of their main initiation tools. He wants to be able to go in with the ultimate, get pulled back with the Kalista ultimate, but because the flank doesn't come to fruition, T1 just run Pain Gaming down. They secure the dragons, secure the kills, get a tower, now find themselves 15 minutes in with a 6k gold lead.
And this is often the problem when you have a team that hasn't faced off against major regions that often, or a region that doesn't have the same caliber of competition as the LCK. Your early game can be good. Mechanically, sometimes you can match up to these players, but when it comes to moving around the map, when it comes to soaking every bit of gold, every bit of experience you can on the map, it is a struggle, and that's, you know, what T1 have done better. Mechanically, they played well, but we saw Pain Gaming get a few early kills and then not really be able to explode that into anything, whereas T1 have just got all of the blood out of the stone.
Careful not to underestimate Pain Gaming, though. They're not the type of team to just roll over and
they're
die.
Not going to lie down. They're going to go out fighting.
They will fight their way to the bitter end, and even with the advantage T1 have, Pain Gaming will look for every opportunity. Vision going to be suffocated, but there are a few wards on the top side jungle for Pain. The Herald being dropped means that the siege onto the tier 2 has begun.
Preshow gets the charge in. Pain Gaming trying to defend as for. The Whirling Death clears out a couple of the minions in the bot wave, but that cannon minion surviving gives Wizer a little bit more time with the turret. T1 move their pressure from the top lane over to mid. Another wave's going to crash top in about 5 seconds' time. You can see Zeus up there to get help that on its way. Oner's going to translate his pressure from mid across to top, and there's the tower for T1, just pulling Pain Gaming around the map. Zeus, though, Pop Blossom flash away, Glacial Prison still connects, and Zeus can put down the equalizer. Keria flash, hostile takeover hits onto 2, Cheetan's one of them! And goodbye, Pain. The T1 collapse is just insurmountable.
A valiant effort. They thought that they had caught out Zeus, but the response from Keria, Oner, and Faker was just too devastating. T1, they're not going to reset. They set their sights on the inhibitor towers, and they're looking to break the base 17 minutes in.
He'll crack through one of these inhib towers. Faker will dash back to his soul. Then Gaming might look for a little bit of a chase here. Wizer going in, but 2 levels down. Hits another undertow. The heal coming out from Keria. Doesn't have much mana left. Ragnarok. Faker left alone. Kuri still chasing forward here. dyNquedo trying to kill the king, and he should be able to take him down. Faker dashes back, but dyNquedo gets his first kill of the match.
At the very least, he'll get a decent amount of gold into his back pocket. A little bit more damage to act as a backline threat. But with the base in tatters, 6 towers to 1 is the advantage that T1 find themselves in. Pain Gaming are going to have to find some serious miracles to turn this game around. But there is some good news.
They did better than Mad Lions.
That they did. Medic, that they did. Dragon swanning in about 1 minute 20 seconds. Pain Gaming likely looking to try and set up to contest this objective. They're right now prioritizing catching these waves that have been pushed in incredibly deep by T1 and getting what vision they can around the bot side river.
And for Pain Gaming, it's a miracle you need. Like, there's a whole item lead for Gumayusi in the AD carry slot. Faker has Stridebreaker, Blade of the Ruin King complete, and dyNquedo only has the Storm Surge. You are so far in a hole right now, you can't even see the sky. But if you're gonna perform the miracle of being the first Brazilian team to make it to the Swiss stage in 8 years, if you're going to return to the world stage after 9 years yourselves without having ever made it. Perhaps it is a miracle that you can find.
And crucially, they're not out of the tournament even with this loss.
Yeah, very true.
They're still the 0-2 bracket. The rules in the Swiss stage are 3 wins, you're out, 3 losses.
Yeah.
So
We said it, Betty. It's Caps, Faker, APA. Yep. That's the dyNquedo timeline.
It's very possible. Pain will still have another opportunity. There's at the very least 1 best-of-3 that they'll need to play before they're eliminated from the tournament. And in the event that they do end up losing this game, which given the current state of affairs is looking likely.
Likely is underselling it, Betty.
It's my professional speak.
Okay, yeah.
The odds are low.
Infinitesimally small, but not to 0, I believe, is the statistical call here. dyNquedo going in, though, and they found Zeus and Oner on the flank. Kuri's going to get hit with a hostile takeover already. Zeus is down. What more can Pain Gaming find? The chase is on as Oner has to dash away. dyNquedo's fallen as well, and CarioK and Wizer are the only 2 left alive. There's a bit of a meat grinder in the middle there. Pain Gaming were able to get 1, but not much more.
It was a promising start to the engage. By securing that kill onto Zeus, you'd think maybe they can turn this around. The problem is the wallet difference is just way too big. So the moment that the rest of T1 join the fray, PNG, they just melt like butter. There is very little that T1 has to cut through. And what they do find is, it's very difficult to stop. So you'll see a nice ultimate will come out from CarioK onto the Vi very quick. Makes it difficult for T1 to react. Oner almost loses life, but crucially, they get the Rumble ultimate off and the Vi ultimate, and Cheetan basically dies to the Rumble ultimate, even though he loses his life. Just goes to show that the T1 jungle top, even though they were focused, was still able to do so much work at the very start of that fight.
And if the game was closer, you can see how Pain Gaming's composition could play into the T1 comp, but it is a struggle from 10,000 gold in deficit. T1 now setting up towards this top side, or at least Keria is. Zeus, his companion, pushing out that top lane. Faker has the TP, and still has 2.5 items, so he's going to continue to push through bot. I think that's the closest I have ever seen the win probability power play WS to being 100%. If we really zoom in, I think I can see a pixel here, guys. I think there's one showing it's not quite 100%.
But when your Draven has 3 items and a pickaxe at 21 minutes, your probability of winning is often quite high.
Also when he's Guma.
Also, being Gumayusi does help. The Baron likely going to be started off soon. There is that ward not spotted by the control.
It's a really good ward from Pain Gaming.
The question is, can CarioK get in range for a potential steal?
I mean, the hope is Kuri distracts Keria, making him think, oh, now he definitely knows that's not the real Sejuani, but CarioK can try and get into the pit here. 3,000 HP on it. T1 begin to pull off. Pain Gaming just waiting to see if T1 will continue the push on this Baron. They'll keep it aggroed. 3,500 on it, down to 2.5. CarioK trying to get in, but he's locked up, and Faker dives in onto him. The Baron already secured by T1. Fate sealed onto CarioK as well. Keria flashing forward with a hostile takeover, matched by the equalizer. dyNquedo's TPing in, but I'm pretty sure he wants to run away from this fight. It's 2 already to T1. Make it 3 as Wizer falls. dyNquedo tried to get something, but he will join his teammates in the fountain. Only CarioK left alive.
The Baron secured, 4 members down, and T1 can immediately look for the end. Of course, the respawn timers are still very short, so Pain Gaming likely going to have one last stand, but T1, with utter domination, have showcased their potential here against Pain.
And they have. Obviously, we'll continue to track them throughout the rest of the tournament. And for Pain Gaming, they'll be looking at a 0-2 scoreline. But as you say, Vetti, not out. Best of 3s from here on out for them. Some more chances to show their mettle as the CBLOL representatives. 23 minutes, though, the base has begun to be broken by T1. They have a 14,000 gold lead, and it looks like they're going to push through bot and mid.
Notice here how they do their best to keep CarioK locked up, preventing him any access into the Baron pit, allowing him to burst it down, and then you highlighted a medic, the flash over from Keria into the Rumble ultimate makes it so difficult for Cheetan to kite back. He does his best, but the chase down from T1 is just far too much. dyNquedo looking for his 1v1 against Faker, flashes out, but doesn't quite have the damage to secure the kill.
T1, every time it's a 1v1 between dyNquedo and Faker, someone else shows up to help out Faker. I'm just saying.
It's true.
If it was a true 1v1, who knows? Who knows what would happen, Betty? 3,000 gold lead. Faker has may say that he would be on the winning end of that, as we see the two waves pushed in by T1, sinking those waves up, making it harder for Pain Gaming to react to just one lane, because they have to deal with the fact that Rumble is pushing through mid as well. The Baron remains for a minute's time. Zeus just standing back. He doesn't need to go any further in. He's allowing the minions to do the work here. Doesn't want to overstep in case Pain do start to collapse. TP behind, and that's what Wizer's looking to do. Zeus going to start to back away. Doesn't have the flash, though, and dyNquedo is on the chase. Equalizer down. Oner going in on CarioK, but there's one for Pain Gaming. T1 will take the tower in the bot lane. Can they find more out of this? They still have a cannon minion and 3 casters now. 2. CarioK still that front line. Faker dashing back. Pain Gaming don't have the defenses to hold on to this tower for now.
They turn their attention to mid lane. Another tower soon to fall. Faker goes in alone. Getting good damage off the CarioK, just forcing Pain Gaming back slowly but surely. The base is falling apart. 20 seconds until Zeus respawns. With so many minions sieging onto the base, T1 don't really have to do much outside of letting the minions do the work.
Wizer doesn't have Ragnarok here, and he's going to Ragnarok his way into the Death Realm. Another kill for T1. Pop Blossom from Kuri was stopped by a handshake. And I think Pain Gaming are preparing themselves for the constellatory ones at the end here. The dive in by Oner onto dyNquedo. The Nexus Tower is falling, the hostile takeover coming out. And Pain Gaming can only watch from the fountain as T1 rip them apart. It was expected, but it was clinical from T1 as they go to 1-on-1.
A confident performance overall from T1. Oner with an incredible impact on his Vi. You can see smiles across the faces of Pain Gaming. You've heard enough from us, so let's hear what the analyst desk had to say.
There's a lot of things to say. The first one being they tried.
I mean,
Yes.
okay,
They
no,
tried.
yeah, honestly, they did really well in the early game. I think this is the result that we were always going to be expecting, that T1 was going to win this by pure macro as well and by individual skill. What we did not expect was that Gumayusi and Keria, they were not lane swapped up, they were 2v2'd by a Kalista that got the 2v2 killed early. Like, that was fantastic. And I think, yes, as we already said, PNG was probably never going to win this, but they had individual moments that I think they can be proud of.
I had like Shogun flashbacks. That's what I had. The 2v2 bot.
Actually.
There's the kill that happened through mid, and then the dragon that they pushed off and ended up getting the first Dracon. I was like, okay, this is happening, and they're confident. But yeah, then it started getting a little messy.
I mean,
Side lanes were getting picked on too.
There's some LEC teams that lasted a bit longer than 15 minutes against T1. So I think we can just give them this one here.
Yeah, it took me a little bit to catch on that.
I love the fact that when teams are always happy to play against T1, right? They don't get these chances so often, and I love the fact that they're gonna commit to every chance they get to kill Faker most of the time.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the goal.
I have flashbacks to Dumbledore on his Janna, just running mid to try and getting the kill on Faker. We see Kuri now instead with the Neeko, but this is kind of all that came about, right? And we've already said it. I think these early game moments were super cool to see from PNG. The fact that they were not scared at all. They came to play. They did their best. But you are against the defending world champions, and they show up at Worlds.
Yes, and now it's just time for T1. I think this was a good confidence booster past those moments. Obviously, the first early game, a little sweaty. My palms are literally sweaty. But to be able to kind of assess, of course, losing to top esports in the way that they did, and then, of course, being able to get this game, I think it was a good confidence booster, and they have a chance now to look back on some of those games to get better and look for the next one.
It's enough reassurance. I'm not going to say that it's a confident boost, I guess, when you're coming as the world champion. I'm going to wait for the next one, is what
I'm just saying,
I
seeing
mean
a
here.
1 on wins instead of a 0 is a lot more confident boost to me than anything else. So, you know, happy for them.
Happy for them, and we have Shox standing by on stage with Faker, actually, in the Verizon post-game interview. Faker, congratulations on your first victory here at the World Championship for this year. After the false start yesterday, how important was it to get a lot of confidence from your match today?
승리 정말 축하드립니다. 아무래도 어제 테스트전 패배와 함께 시작한 만큼 오늘 경기 잘 승리하면서 자신감 다시 가져가는 게 얼마나 중요했나요?
일단 0승 2패로 떨어지면 안 되겠다고 생각을 했었고요. 지난 경기에서는 저희가 배운 점이 있었기 때문에 오늘 경기 이길 수 있을 거라고 생각했습니다.
What I had in mind was you should not go down to 0-2, and based on the takeaways we got from the previous match, we were able to get this win today.
When it comes to the LCK in summer, I feel like T1 wasn't really able to show what you would want it to show, maybe in terms of synergy, but also meta read. What are the steps you feel you have to take in order to make sure that you can make a similar run to last year's World Championship?
사실 서머 시즌을 돌이켜봐도 시너지라든지 뭐 메타 해사기라든지 아무래도 T1이 가장 이상적인 길을 밟아갔다고는 볼 수 없는데 이번 월드를 준비함에 있어서 어떤 부분을 보완해서 작년 월드와 같은 좋은 성과를 낼 수 있게 좀 열심히 집념했나요?
저희가 서머 시즌 때 이번에 좀 성적이나 경기력이 좀 안 좋았기 때문에 그런 경기력적인 측면들을 좀 잘 보완하려고 했고 그리고 메타 적응도 잘 하려고 했습니다.
Yeah, to be honest, our performance, our one run this summer was not ideal. Also, our meta read as well, so we focus on those aspects.
Okay, final question. You played Pain Gaming here, and the fans in Brazil, they love you, and they were waiting for 10 years for one of their Brazilian teams to play T1 and to play yourself, Faker. Is there anything you'd like to say to them?
그리고 마지막으로 워낙 브라질에도 팬분들이 많이 계시고 정말 11월에 한 팀이 T1 그리고 페이커 선수와 월드 무대에서 만나기를 모두가 10년을 기다렸습니다. 그런 만큼 브라질 팬분들께 전하고 싶은 말씀이 있으실까요?
네, 오늘 또 브라질 팀과 경기할 수 있어서 굉장히 감사했고 또 브라질 팬분들도 옛날부터 많이 응원해 주셔서 감사하다고 말씀드리고 싶습니다.
I was very grateful to be able to face up against a Brazilian team, and I know they have been supporting us for such a long time and supporting me for such a long time, so I thank you and appreciate your love and support all the way from Brazil.
Awesome. 감사합니다.
Starts up on the red. Gumayusi falling low, 210 HP on him. Chitan pops the barrier! That is the first blood for Chitan! Jumps in with a Q3. dyNquedo goes back forward and immediately Oner was waiting. A choreographed play there from T1. Can put down the equalizer. Keria flash. Hostile takeover hits onto two. Chitan's one of them! Kuri still chasing forward here. dyNquedo trying to kill the king. And he should be able to take him down. Faker dashes back, but dyNquedo and Pain Gaming can only watch from the fountain as T1 rip them apart.
This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd. Fire in the sunrise. Ashes raining down. Heavy is the crowd.
And if you're wondering why I move the way I do, I just feel so good.